everything that ever happened to you in your life happened to you in the present moment. That is, the future and the past are nothing more than illusions. They all occur in the present moment. There's an old saying that says, I'm an old man and I've had many troubles, most of which have never happened. And, it's like these are all things that we create for ourselves in our mind. Just know that whatever it is that is coming your way, know that it is all for your highest good. Who could ask for anything more than that? Think of it instead of what might happen in the future. Ask yourself this question whenever one of those thoughts pops into your head. That is, why am I using up this present moment, which is all I get in life, all I'll ever get? Why would I want to use it being consumed with something that might or might not happen down the road? And the more you're able to do that and be there and send that worry thought away, because the worry thought is nothing more than how you're choosing to use up this present moment by consuming yourself with worry. Guilt is the opposite of that. Guilt is using up the present moment to be concerned about something that you did or didn't do or should have done or didn't do right, but you're still doing it in the present moment. So worry and guilt, in my book, Your Erroneous Zones, I call these the useless emotions. They're just useless because all they do is take you away from the moment and have you fill up the moment with something other than what you want to be doing, which is to be in a fully functioning, loving, present moment experience all the time, just being in the now. And if you want to learn how to do that, go out and watch your animals. Because I wrote a book years ago called The Sky's the Limit, and one of the chapters is called First Be a Good Animal. And there's so much that we can learn from the creatures out there. Like an otter isn't worried about, whether it's a mate is going to leave it 2 months from now, or whether, whether it likes somebody else better, or any of those kinds of things. It's just in the moment. It's being an otter. Just be an otter. Just enjoy the moment. And you'll find that all of that other stuff will just pass exactly the way it's supposed to. It's all unfold perfectly. And everybody who comes into our life, by the way, everybody who comes in, it's like a play. They have certain roles to play. Some of them in for the whole act. Usually, your parents and grandparents and so on, they're in for every act of the play. And some of them come in for a short time and then they leave, and some come back. And everybody's making entrances and exits, and ultimately we all exit the play, don't we? It's all of that anxiety and that stress and that fear and that worry. All you're doing is wasting the present moments of your life, filling them with something that you could otherwise be filling them with. And that's what I would be asking you if I were your therapist. Like, what is it that you could be doing in the moments when you're worried about whether your husband's going to find someone more suited to you? What could you be doing other than that? Supposing that your mind wasn't capable of thinking that thought, what would your life look like? Yeah, if you couldn't think that thought, you would be happy. So the only thing that keeps you from being happy isn't your husband or isn't you, it's that thought. And if you just decide that I'm in charge of what thoughts that I have, and so now you say, okay, you just go onto you use your imagination, and you go into this imaginary place where you just assume, I can't think that thought. My brain isn't capable of making the chemicals that are going to allow that thought. And then you start realizing that I am now content. You would be free, you would be joyful. And if you read the Tao, if you read Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, there's a whole chapter in there on contentment. That's what Lao Tzu was teaching us all. Just be in a state of contentment instead of wanting something or worrying something or being obsessed about what already happened.
Well, Dr. Dyer, when some of us worry obsessively about the past, and others, we worry about the future. I notice in myself, I tend to always worry about the future, but I never worry about the past. Do you think that's just our personalities, or what is human nature?
I think when we call it worrying about the past, I think that's a misapplication of the use worry. The word worry. I've always used any time you use everything you do in the present moment. So when the question always is, why am I using up my present moment this way? Anything that you're using to think about what happened in the past, if it shouldn't have happened, I wish it wouldn't have. I was wrong. I was bad. I call that guilt, and that is and the reason why guilt is a useless emotion is because it's just an inconsiderate or inconvenient way of using up the present moment. If you use up the present moment to say, okay, I did this and I'm going to learn from it, I'm not going to do it again, that's not guilt. That's just called learning from the past. But if you're obsessed about it and worried about it and feeling sad about it, then you're just practicing, one of the most useless things that you can do, which is to feel guilty. Learn from it, but feeling guilty is a waste of the present moment. as is worrying about anything, really. There's a wonderful statement that my teacher in India used to say to me. He said, it makes no sense to worry about the things you have no control over, because if you have no control over them, it makes no sense to worry about them. And then he said, and it makes no sense to worry about the things that you do have control over, because if you have control over them, it makes no sense to worry about them. He said, and there goes everything that it's possible to worry about. You either have control or you don't. In either case, worry is a waste of your present moments.
So in any instant, you should just ask yourself, do I have any control over this? Yes or no?
Right.
And move on.
And the answer, and that's what the Serenity Prayer is really about. And grant me the wisdom to know the difference between the things I can control and the things I can't control. And for sure, you can't control anything that's already happened. You just can't control it. Yeah. Some of the stuff we've been talking about here today is is to really go to look at, the thoughts that you have. If you were to ask the question, the very first question, I have what I call an excuses be gone paradigm. And this paradigm is like you ask yourself a series of 7 questions. The first question you ask yourself is it true? And then you look at, where did it come from? I always think, what if you couldn't think those kind of thoughts? What if that wasn't a possibility? What would you be doing? What would you be doing that wouldn't make you feel so constrained and so, even unworthy? And that's a theme of what we're talking about here today. That's really so we get into this worry theme, about, so if I were to do this, then this would be the consequence. And then if I were to do this, and so instead of using your mind and your time and your life energy to be doing what you really, truly enjoy, which is the whole purpose of life, instead you're using it. The minute that you stop, you say, no, I'm not deserving of that. I'm not worthy of that. And then I'm not going to be able to make money. And what are my family going to think if I were to do that? And so all of that stuff that you twist, I call these memes, these are just the thoughts that we have had implanted in our minds from your parents and their parents, and endlessly it goes back into all of this worry stuff. And instead, the way out of it is the creative process. The creative source is in a constant state of creating, and there's never any restriction, there's never any limitations. It's just constantly giving, offering, and providing. You have a deep knowing inside of you that you are totally unlimited. I mean, I sit here right now at the age of 68, and I know that if I decided to change careers right now and just go into something completely different, something I had never even done before, that I know that all I would have to do is put my attention on it, and the universe would send me, the right people, the right events, the right circumstances. It would all just begin to show up. You almost get, it's hard to explain this, but you almost get a sense of that whatever it is I want to manifest or attract into my life, whatever it might be, that there's absolutely no limit to it whatsoever. And you get, the right word isn't arrogant, but it's the word that keeps going. You get almost like a knowing that is so powerful that there's nothing can dissuade you from it, Nothing can come in there and say, no, this can't happen, this isn't going to work, these are all the obstacles, these are all the reasons where. All of that stuff is that's the work of other people. That's the work of people in the past who have tried to make these try to make your life safe and try to do the right thing by you, and all with good intentions, but always with limitations, and always with, you have to watch out for the outcome. Yeah. And now you're moving into that. You're moving into the same place that you're going to move into when you die, when you leave this body behind, this place of oneness. And oneness is a very difficult concept for us to grasp, because we're always in two-ness. We're always in, not just the thing, but the symbol of the thing, and what will happen, and what circumstances might, and we introduce conflict. There's always this inclination of the mind to go into this area of conflict, but what ifs, but when you're in oneness, when you're in total oneness, it's all perfect. And every one of these thoughts that are bombarding your consciousness now, they're coming in there just to sort of wake you up and have you realize that there's absolutely no limits whatsoever. You just make the decision, whichever way you want to go. Practice living the virtues, practice being out there and serving and honoring others, and servicing yourself and God and our planet, and the right thing will come your way. By thinking small, by thinking about what I can do in this moment. There's just this knowing that this isn't me doing it all. You're letting yourself be lived by it, just letting it take you wherever it's going to take you, and being at peace with it. It's like that beautiful song I ended one of my PBS shows with. It says, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. There's so much wisdom in that. It's like row, row, row. It means do, work, work, work. Just whatever. More row your boat. Don't row somebody else's boat. And row it gently, always in harmony with God. And do go down the stream. In other words, don't go up the stream and fight it and all of that. And do it merrily. In the end, it's all a dream. It's just all one big dream. We're all characters in God's dream. So there's great wisdom in that simple little song.